This is Ready Set Reiki, a podcast about Reiki, the universal energy life force, from the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, and all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination, and on this Ready Set Reiki journey, we refer to ourselves as guides rather than hosts, as we too are traveling, supporting each other, and learning on this Reiki journey as well. And with that said, I am your guide, Tracy Searight. And joining us today on our journey is Elizabeth Plancon. She is an intuitive manifestation mentor, activator, and healer. She specializes in mindset, manifestation, and spirituality, ultimately activating your life to the next level. She is also an international best-selling co-author of the book Manifesting with Purpose, Aligning Your Soul's Desires. She is a mom and wife living in the Midwest United States. Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome to Ready Set Reiki.
Hi, Tracy. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So we're going to jump right into our first question. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Elizabeth, and I am an intuitive mentor, activator, and healer. And I am a mom of two girls who are 7 and 11. We live just outside of Chicago, and I love all things, energy, woo-woo, spirituality. Like that is what my jam is, my passion. And, I love nature. I love going outside and walking in different woods and forest preserves and exploring. And really, in, my free time, I'm hanging with my family or we're just outside relaxing, and personal and professional development is also really important to me. So I study, every morning. I have a study group that I've been studying with for probably 3 years now. We read together every morning a different book. And, so I really just strive in expansion, I guess, right. And I think it's so fun for me. That's what lights me up.
Wonderful. Seems like you're doing a lot of exploring on your journey, right?
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell me, when did this healing work, this energy work come into your life? Did you find it or did it find you?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, right? I started on my spiritual journey. I mean, many years ago. I think as many of us always like do when we're intuitives or healers, we kind of have this interest, this pull to it. And I always, messed around with it, played with it as a young adult. And I didn't really get into it until 2020. I started to have this pull, that I was meant for something else than I was currently doing. I was working, your typical professional corporate job. And I really just felt like I was here to help people in some way, but I wasn't sure how. And I've always been into alternative healing and holistic healing. And so I really began to then start my journey of exploration of like, what is it that I'm supposed to do? And one thing led me to another, and I met my mentor who helped me develop my psychic abilities, which I always knew I had, but really never took the time to actually develop them, right? And grow them and know them. And during that time, I discovered Reiki. Like I've heard of Reiki and I knew what it was, but I never really was like, okay, whatever. And then it just came to me. It was like, yes, I want to really understand this and know this. And I really feel like it will help me be a better guide for my clients and those who I help, and being able to help them energetically. And so in 2020 is when I first really, when I became attuned and, started studying Reiki.
Wonderful. And bravo to you for answering the call, because many of us do get that and they're like, well, we're not ready, and make
Yeah.
all these excuses. But you rose up to the occasion and had that first step on your journey. So well done. Well done.
Thank you.
So, as you've been practicing, now for a number of years, what is the common misperception about your work?
I think the common misperception for me is just, understanding what it is and how it works, right? And believing, right? it works. And anyone that I come in contact with that I'm discussing it is, well, belief is key. If you don't believe it's going to work for you, then it won't, right? Because you're basically not accepting the energy, the healing, right? And as we all know, our clients or whoever we're working on kind of have to accept that healing energy for it to actually penetrate and work. So I think a misconception is also, like with any energy work, is that we can, do things to people without their consent. But really, the level of difficulty, in my opinion, to do that is you really can't, right? And I tell my clients this, like, nothing can touch you that you don't allow. So if they're ever scared of, dark energy or lower vibrational energy, I tell them you're powerful. Like, they can't hurt you. So it's the same thing, right? Like when, like, oh, they might think you're like a witch or woo woo and all the things. And there's nothing wrong with witches, like I'm talking about your stereotypical like fairy tale witch who's going to like hurt you, right? There's so much more beauty to all of that than people even realize. So I think really this taking away this like negative connotation about energy work and what it really is a misconception that I've dealt with in my past, and just with friends or family, when I have all of these spiritual tools now in my house, it would make them look a little like, what are you doing over there? It makes them nervous. I'm like, I come from light and love. Like that's the only energy I work with here. So there's nothing to be fearful of.
Right, right. It's kind of like think of the Wizard of Oz. It's not the
Yeah.
Wicked Witch, it's Galinda, right? That's what
Right.
that is. You have the
Right.
power within you. It's that same message.
For
So don't be
sure.
afraid of that. Be in that light, right? That bubble that's around
Right,
you.
right. It really is like taking off those like, stereotypes and those labels of these negative things, right? Because like my psychic development teacher was a witch and she taught me some things, and I don't claim myself as a witch because that's just not who I am. I'm a light worker, and I think we all have our different modalities and our different connections for our lineage.
Right, correct, correct. So as you are continuing this journey, what is something that you wish your younger self knew about your current profession?
That it existed. Right? I was definitely in that generation that had that all set out for you, right? Like you go to high school, you get the good grades, you go to college, you get the degree, you follow these steps. Like it was not, if you're going to college, it's where are you going to college? And so not in a million years would I have thought like, wow, I can do this too, or this also, or this instead of, going to college. It would have been a different type of schooling and experience, right? And don't get me wrong, like I loved my college experience. Like I had fun, I met great people and learned a lot. So I don't regret it. But I think opening our eyes up to all the possibilities that are out there just makes it so much more freeing, especially for the younger generation. Like you can do these beautiful things if you are called to do them.
Right, right. And that reminds me of when I was in school, you had that path already, right? You
Yeah.
have to either take the teaching classes or you'll make a great nurse. And then
Right.
you go to college, then you get married, then you have the family. And
Yep.
now this is one of the great things about TikTok is that it's so widespread with Reiki. It's really out there so that
Yeah.
when you talk to someone in their early 20s, oh, they know this because so and so does it on TikTok. And oh, yeah, I
Hmm.
know that they're holding the crystals and they're removing my negative energy. So, what a
Hmm.
gift that is for them now, for someone who kind of was navigating through their life and had these abilities and didn't know. And then later in life, they're like, wait, I've been doing this my whole life.
Right.
Now I have a name for it. And
Right.
that's when you start thinking backwards. Like, oh my
Hmm.
goodness, I was doing that at 5. I was doing that at 7. I was doing that at 12. And so this generation that's growing up with the TikTok is able to have that option where,
For
in my generation or yours, did not have that.
correct. I so agree with that.
Yeah. So when it is time for you to get your energetic tune up, what qualities do you look for in a Reiki practitioner or energy healer or worker?
So I'm really drawn to intuitives, and maybe that's because I'm intuitive myself. And I feel like most energy workers are intuitive, but maybe some have not developed that part of them yet, right? But really looking for that healer that knows and, can feel or just, get that intuition of where they need to go, what needs to be healed, what needs to be released. Because as many of us say, healers need healers because we sometimes can't see or feel where exactly this issue is coming from or the block is coming from or what needs, or we don't have the energy to do it for ourselves because our ego gets in the way. So really, for me, I'm always, if I'm looking for a healer, it's someone that is intuitive or has studied intuition. So if you are a Reiki, person, a master, practitioner, and you have not taken an intuition class, I highly suggest it. There's so many out there, but just, working on that, and it will help you help your clients on knowing where to go, what to do, the even channeling, right? Like, what are the things that you can say to them to help them in their journey?
Right. And many people get a little bit nervous, like, no, I can't do that. Intuition. But as you continue working with the Reiki, as you keep practicing, as you keep connecting with other people, that begins to open up other
Yes.
gifts per se. And you don't have to stay in the Reiki. Maybe in the beginning, just doing that Reiki is going to open up doors where you become that tarot reader, where you
Yes.
become that light worker, where you become that shaman. But it's somewhere on your journey. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to stay, but it's doing that self healing that's going to open up wide to bring your
Yeah.
true, authentic nature.
Yeah, I love that. And I truly resonate with that 100% because Reiki was one of the first energy type of healings that, I became officially certified in. But, I'm also like just an, energy healer with my intuition and my gifts. But
Of
I do
course.
feel like it opened up my gifts even more because you're
Right.
healing, your other chakras and your ability to receive information.
Right. Which probably helped align everything so that you can be this activator.
Yes, for sure. 100%. Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, what advice would you give to someone who's just entering this profession?
I would tell you to trust yourself, to really, and not compare yourself to others who may be more advanced or, who you think are better than you, right? Because look, everyone is in different places in their journey in life and their work, their careers, whatever it is. So if you're comparing yourself to someone that's been doing this for 10 years, you're comparing yourself apples to oranges, right? It doesn't matter. We're all at the right place at the right time because there are people for everybody. And so, as you progress and advance, you're going to be helping different types of people than you did in the beginning. So, really just learning to trust yourself and believe in yourself and that your work is needed. And that, because I hear a lot of times where they're like, well, this person over here has been doing this for 15 years. Why would they go to me when they can go to them? Because maybe they're not for you, right? Like everyone has their own people that are for them, and you will have those people that are being called to your energy. So really trusting in your intuition, your gifts, and know that you were given this pull, like this call for a reason, right? So really just leaning into that trust and faith.
Right. I mean, and I always say to anyone, if you have this calling, then you have every right to be there. You have every
Yes.
right to move forward on this. And when you look back at the history of Reiki, back in 1922, when Dr. Azui Sensei, rediscovered the Reiki, when you look at it, it was 4 years of his life before he passed. 4 years, and what difference he made that we're still talking about him today.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So don't look at it in the matter of the number of years. You could have
Hmm.
someone who's been doing this for 30 years and someone who's been doing this for a couple days. And you may resonate with that person. We learn from everyone. Everyone is a teacher. So go by how it feels for you. And if you
Hmm.
resonate with that person over, oh my goodness, how many years have been you've been doing this? How many clients do you have? These
Right.
people that have had this within them. I believe everybody's born with this, and it's just a
Yeah.
matter of choosing to allow it to awaken and come alive within you. So,
Yeah, because in lifetimes ago, you might have been a healer. And the same thing, like with my, developing and discovering my light language. Like when I first started it, I was like, I'm just starting this. And my mentor's like, no, you've been doing this for lifetimes. You're just becoming aware of it in this lifetime now. So you're not new at this. This isn't new. It's just you're becoming aware of it at the right time in this current life.
Right, right. Yeah. And so yeah, never judge it by the years. Judge it
Yeah, I
by
love
the
that.
energy and the person. Very good. So our next question is, what books do you recommend?
Oh, what books do I recommend? I have so many that I love, obviously, that I study all the time. But a couple of my favorites are The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. It's really about, surrendering and trusting and listening to your intuition and just following that. And also, You Too Can Be Prosperous. That's a great book for manifestation and mindset. Ask and It Is Given by, Esther and Jerry Hicks. What else do I love? I'm reading the Conversations with God right now series by Neil Donald Walsh. I'm on book 3, and I've been loving those. Obviously, that I keep going. So those would be my, favorite book recommendations right now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and the books with our listeners. I love it. Our my bookshelf is really getting full. Every time I connect with someone new, they still give me a title, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to pick that one up. So our next question is, what other modalities do you offer? Do you offer classes online or in person?
Yeah, so I do offer virtual sessions in one-on-one private containers for spiritual mentoring, manifestation, and mindset coaching. And I kind of customize my packages to my clients and what their needs are, really helping them stepping up into their next level. And I also do light language activations. And so my light language has the ability to basically activate your next level of potential and your power, whatever it is for you that you are needing in that moment. We can, just maybe it's healing, maybe it's releasing, or maybe it's your manifestations we're activating. Your purpose is the big one that I do activate for people, is just activating that purpose within you to get the ball rolling, to get the steps going. And so I also have a monthly membership that I am just launching today or tomorrow. I haven't really decided which day it's going to go out. And within my monthly membership, it is virtual. There's 2 live calls every month. One is a light language activation, and I usually teach some sort of lesson before that. And then also another call will be like a live hot seat coaching, mentoring Q&A. And I also do give all of the people in that membership like once a month a channeled message or a card pull where they can ask a question, and I'm intuitively tapping in to help them and give them guidance.
Beautiful. So, how can we get in touch with you? How can we book a session, or where do we go to get that membership?
So you can go to my website. It's just my name, elizabethplancon.com, and pretty much all of my links are on there with, my sessions, reaching out to me for mentorship, or my membership will also be on there as well. And then I'm on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, all under just my name. It's just simply just my name.
Perfect. Well, this ends our part of our journey of asking questions, and I'm going to continue on the journey with you. So, we're going to go on a whole new path of social media questions. So, I
Okay.
collect social media questions from our listeners and I narrow it down to 3 questions. So, here we go. The first question from our listener is, what inspired you to write your book or co author your book, Manifesting with a Purpose, Aligning to Your Soul's Desires?
So I was in a mastermind with some of my other coach friends who we went through our training together to become a coach. And one of the authors, Jessica West, one day kind of was like, who wants to write a book? I want to write a book. And when I was working with my psychic development teacher years ago, she told me, she's like, you're going to write a book one day. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, sure. About what? Like, what do I know? What am I going to write about? And so when Jessica said that, who wants to write a book? I was like, I do. I want to write a book because I'm like, this is what I, can write about. And We are also very passionate about mindset and manifestation because it really has this big, such a powerful way of changing your life. And so we wrote this book in order to help others start their journey and changing their lives as well. And so what we really love about our book is at the end of each chapter, we have a chapter on practice. So we're giving you journal prompts or questions to actually apply everything that we're talking about within the book.
Beautiful. So, our second question is, have you faced any skepticism about your spiritual business approach? And if so, how do you address it?
Yeah, it's definitely been, I would say, from, friends or, family or nature or, neighbors or, and I just kind of take it with a grain of salt, right? Because I understand I'm in a different level of awareness and my truth is my truth and their truth is their truth. And you really can't allow those outside opinions to affect you because you know your truth, this is what you're meant to do. And there's so many people in this world that need our help. And so that's what I focus on. And there was a time when I would, hide stuff or shut my office door if people would come over. And I don't do that anymore because I know what I'm doing is true to me. And I no longer live in fear of telling people what I do.
Right? Shine in your light.
Shining my light. There was this one time we were at the bus stop and my daughter said to the other moms, my mom works for God. And I thought it was the sweetest thing ever that she said that. And of course the other moms laughed and thought it was funny. And they joked about it for a few days, like, oh, enjoy doing God's work today. And I was like, oh, I will. Like, and part of me was like, allowing it for a minute was allowing it to bug me, and then I was like, you know what? No, I do work for God. I work with God, right? When all of my
Sure.
healing abilities and channeling. And I just let it go. I'm like, it's fine, no big deal. And it's just you gotta just roll with the punches, right?
Yeah. But instead of looking at it like, what a blessing. What a
Right.
blessing to be able to do that, to be
Yeah.
servants, to be out there to help people. You're spreading love and service. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a gift. It's a
Right.
blessing.
Yes,
Right.
definitely. I
Yeah.
agree. I was like, yes, I do
Yeah.
work, and it's so
Yeah.
beautiful and amazing.
Right, right. And how beautiful that your daughter spoke up like that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
spoke that about you. So wonderful. So, can you share a time when your spiritual practice helped you overcome a personal obstacle?
Yeah. So when we were looking for a new home, that's probably the biggest one where trust and faith came in and, working on manifestation and holding the vision, right? So we were looking for a home and we had found one, put an offer in, they accepted. So we went and sold our home, had the close date, and the house we were supposed to buy fell through like at the last minute. And so we had to decide, like, do we trust that we're going to find a new home and it's going to work out, or do we back out of, selling our house? Well, we decided to go through with the sale of our house, put our entire house in storage, like 3 storage units worth. Moved in with my mom for a month because luckily she had space for us. And within, 2 or 3 weeks of doing that, we found our new home, and a home that was even better than the original house, right? The one that we expected, because we held the vision. I was like, nope, it's going to be okay. We'll be fine. It is what it is. And it's all going to work out. It's going to work out how it's meant to. And it really did. And so that having that spiritual belief and trust and faith and the mindset work that I've done really was what helped me through that personal challenge, because my husband was very nervous about moving in with my mom for a month, right? I mean, we didn't know how long it was
Sure.
going to be at the time. He's like, what if it's months and months and months? I'm like, it's not going to be. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And not that he's like, I want to continue to love my in-laws, right? Like,
Of course. Of course.
no, but it all worked out because we held that vision and, we kept the faith.
Right, right. And I think that's what people don't get with this. They let the mind wander, and then the anxiety comes,
Yeah.
and then you go down that rabbit hole of all the worst scenarios. But it takes the same energy to think negatively, but the thinking positively, that's that same energy. So
Yeah,
think of things in a way of the best scenario. Put that energy towards
exactly.
what's the best thing that can happen out of this. It's the same energy, but just shift it in a way like, well, what amazing things can happen? What are the
Right.
endless possibilities out of it instead of going negative? So, really trying, and that's the test, right? We're given these tests, we have these challenges that we have to go through, character development, so to speak,
Yes.
but of us being able to be calm and positive and trust the
Yes.
universe. You'll be
Yes.
amazed at how you're going to go exactly in the path you're supposed to go. So, and even a better
Yes.
one. You found a better way,
A
right?
100%. I love that. And, I always say like worrying is praying for what you don't want. And when
Absolutely.
I hear people say, well, worst case scenario, I stop them. I said, no, we don't do worst case scenarios. We only do best case
Yes.
scenarios. We don't
The
even go
positive.
there.
Right. Mind over matter. You have to set it out there,
Yeah.
that it's a positive. But, we're human and we go to
Yes.
that dark side and you got to learn to reel it back in a little bit, because
Yeah, it
we're
is
not going to go there.
natural and it's natural and normal, like you said, because we are humans, but
Sure.
it's what we do with those negative thoughts and emotions come
Sure.
in and how we
Sure.
react to them and how long we
Sure.
stay in them.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah. And give yourself grace when those negative thoughts
Yes,
come, but then also pause and say, okay, you know what? I'm on this journey. I'm not going to go down that path. I'm going to turn and go to a more positive direction of light. So,
for sure.
sure. So, those are our three questions. And is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners, or as we were talking, you might have forgotten that you would like to let us know? So, take the time now to share what you would like to share with our listeners.
What's coming through right now, really, that, spirit kind of wants me to share is that we are all needed. All of the light workers and the energy workers, the healers, the guides, whatever it is that you're doing. And even if you are not in this sense like healer work, light worker, anything that you have a passion for that you're called to do, that's the path you want to follow, because that's going to lead you to the most beautiful and most expansive light, because there's so many people that do need our help, and the world is really urging for that, like begging for that positivity and light and to get out of the darkness, right? And so we don't be afraid to step into something new. Don't be afraid to explore. We can break the mold. You can change your path. You can start over at no matter where you are in your life, right? I think a lot of people are like, well, I'm, 60 something years old and I can't do something new. Yes, you can. You can start at any point of your life, just as you said, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
4 years before his death, he was just finding Reiki. Like
Mm-hmm.
at any point of your life, you can start over and shine your light.
Yes. And also with that too, you're a light worker, I'm also a light worker, and the light workers, they're there in the darkness. So if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel that darkness, look for the light worker. I remember Mr. Rogers would say, look for the helpers. Those are the
Yeah.
helpers on your journey that if you need that help, we're here to guide you and to show you, hey, here's some tools for your energetic toolbox to walk along your path. So just take that first step. So if you feel that calling, make that step. Go forward. And there's people that will find you. You will find them. They will show up along the journey. So just trust the process. Trust the
Yes,
process.
and choose yourself. Choose yourself. A lot of times we always put everyone else first before ourselves, and we're afraid to invest the money that it may take in order
Mm-hmm.
to become this your true self. Understand that the money will come back to you and there will always be enough money. And think of it as like going to college, but in just a different way,
Mm-hmm.
right? We are so quick to not care about taking out a student loan for college, but when it comes to personal or professional development that is going to help us expand in more ways than we can even imagine, don't be afraid to take that jump.
Sure, sure. I mean, I know there are a few classes in my college career that I'm like, why did I have to take that? Right?
Because it was Gen Ed.
Because it was, yeah, so it was required as part of the package for,
Right.
my degree, versus, going and learning about this, and this is a skill and this is a gift and you're sharing it. So yeah, make that investment, find that really strong teacher to help guide you. I mean, oftentimes I'll see people try to cut costs, and there's fabulous online on demand programs out there, but they're great resources. Find
Yes.
that live teacher on Zoom
Yes.
or in person to get your foundation. And then as you grow and as you raise your frequency, then bring those things in as
Yeah.
that supplement to help you with it. Because again, you can go back to these resources on demand on any time. You have them, you know.
Right.
So, but yeah, always
Well,
start with that really strong teacher who will help light the path for you so that you can go right ahead.
Well, not even that. Like when you first start on this path, it isn't always rainbows and roses.
Mm-hmm.
So having that guide with you really is going to help you in when you're in the trenches
Mm-hmm.
of doing the inner work and just in kind of shedding your old self. It's not all easy, but it's so
Mm-hmm.
worth it. But so when you have that guide with you, they will hold you and hold space for you and support you through it all. So it's definitely a world of difference, just like you said.
Sure, like the healing work, things start shifting and changing, and you lose things, and things break away and have
Yeah.
upheavals in your life. And to have that teacher that you could text and call, like, oh my goodness, I had the craziest dream, or after my attunement, I was itchy, or I felt this, or I was uncontrollably crying, that you can
Hmm.
reach out, that they can guide you. That's part of the process. You're
Right.
normal, right? You're
Right.
normal. You can't really get that when you buy a package online and you're going at your own pace and you're having these experiences. Who do I reach out to, unless that's part of the package that you buy? So
Right.
yeah. And there are
Right.
some out there. There are some out there that are on demand, and then the teacher has the invitation to reach out to me with any questions. But you still need something that has a little bit of a lifeline for you.
For sure. 100%.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth, for coming on this journey with me. I appreciate it, taking time out of your busy schedule, mom, wife, author, energy worker. I really appreciate you giving your time here to Ready Set Reiki.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Wonderful. All right, my wonderful listeners, if you are ever interested in having your question featured on Ready Set Reiki, just reach out www.readysetreiki.com and find us on social media. Also, check out Feather Sister Wellness, where there's a variety of yoga classes, yoga trainings, Reiki, and Reiki trainings as well. Thank you so much for taking this journey with me. My name is Tracy Searight, and this is Ready Set Reiki.